Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be touring the Upper Village. I mentioned it a few times in my videos and figured that you should definitely see what I'm talking about. Now, officially, this village is considered to be technically abandoned and uninhabited. There is a little bit of mystery about who exactly resides here still. I know for sure that there are two grandmas that live here. One woman lives with her sheep, and the other person I really just don't know anything about. Sometimes the number seems to fluctuate by word of mouth to about 4, but the number is anywhere between 2 and 4 people. So technically it's an abandoned village, but there are literally a handful of people living here off the grid. While it's pretty amazing and admirable that people can live this way, it's also very sad when you come to realize that this village used to be the home to thousands of people. Later in the video, you'll see a church, which is pretty large. It's a 350-year-old church, and you can imagine all the life that took place back then. Just as in my village down below, the main livelihood of people came from sesame seed cultivation, silkworms, and currently from tobacco leaves. My grandfather, he used to plant huge plots of sesame seeds, I remember as a child, and it would be used later for many things, including something called tăhân, which is a Bulgarian dessert. I don't really like to compare it to peanut butter because I just think it's so much better, but for example purposes, just think of peanut butter except made from sesame paste. I think one thing that will stand out to you guys is the size of the houses, and it really speaks to how big this village used to be in the past. So the ground floor, as in my village, was generally used to house the animals, the cattle, the sheep, and the heat from the animals would radiate upward and heat the first floor above ground. And generally speaking, silkworms were watched on that floor. Now, if the house is a bit smaller, 2 stories, the family would live in the same quarters of the silkworms. So imagine a big room for the silkworms and then rooms where the family would live. If the houses are a bit bigger, as you'll see in this video, there are a few, the family would live on the 3rd floor with the silkworms on the 2nd. So basically the heat from the animals would radiate up and heat the silkworms and ultimately the family. Hey, people come up with amazing innovations when they have no other choice. They have to heat themselves. This village is also very well known amongst locals for the workmanship of the houses. Even people in my village agree generally that the workmanship of the upper village tends to be even craftier and even more skilled than our own village. And that's a pretty big thing, people to admit that something in another village is better than something in their own. I personally don't really see the difference. I think they're equally good, but maybe I'm just a crazy patriot when it comes to my own village. The argument, though, is that the corners of the buildings in the houses in the upper village are even sharper and straighter than in our own. But one thing I will admit is it is pretty amazing that they don't have a river directly next to the village like we do. There is a river, but it's not as close as ours. And remember, these rocks come from the river, so they had to lug them from pretty far. I feel like I have so much more I want to share with you, but I don't want to make the intro too long. I want to jump right in. You will notice that the trees are bare again. This is something that I filmed back in December, and I decided to keep it this way so you can see all seasons. I'm going to film it again now when it's warm, so you can see how green it is. Another thing you will notice is that there is a group of people with me. I apologize for the noise if it gets a little bit louder than my other videos, but we do go in groups, not because it's really unsafe. We basically do little nature walks together. So that's to account for the people you see there. Those are not the inhabitants of the village. That's just my family. And without further ado, welcome to the Upper Village. I hope you guys enjoy. We are now entering the Upper Village. For those of you who've watched my previous videos, you'll know we are in the lower village by the river. This is the Upper Village that I've mentioned a couple of times. Now, this village is much less inhabited than ours. There's here's one lady, but total 3-4 people. They're, retired. Mainly grandmas. And what's very interesting about this village, though it's almost uninhabited at this point, the workmanship on the houses are amazing. You can see from here, look at the straight angle. This is all built by hand at least 200 years ago. So you can see, you can imagine how much work and how much mastery goes into this. Look. These rocks are all chosen, planned to make this straight wall. This used to be the house of one of the richer people in the village. The richer people would be closer to the center, and the church always marks the center. Let me quickly go in here to show you the bell tower from the inside. Oh, there we are. This bell hasn't been rung in years, but back in the day it would mark holidays, deaths, anything that the whole village would need to know about. Okay, they put a lock. I can't show you. Okay, I have some other videos that I'm just gonna show you. I have some older videos that I filmed before they locked it. They're renovating it at the moment, so. This is a nest from Ljastovički. Again, I have to translate the word. I'm so mad about that. All right, I'm just gonna use my old videos. They're filmed in horizontal form, but for now they'll do. Once they open it, I'll refilm for anyone who's interested, because the inside is amazing. It has woodwork. It has dragons made out of wood. Old crowns that you would put on when you get married. I mean, don't imagine anything gold king and queen crowns. It's metal, however, a lot of history and very beautiful. This house is inhabited, you can tell. Right now we're just going to do a quick walk through. And when they open the church, I'm going to go into some more detail. Look at this house. Look at it. I mean, this is what happens when man doesn't inhabit a house for an extended period of time. Here you can see how they're built. Same as our village. Rocks, carefully placed, held together by mud. And on the upper level, it's more so mud and thatch. But aside from us, you can see there's no one here. That one little old lady, she has a couple of goats. She lives by herself in peace. Peace and quiet. Now, a lot of these houses, all of them really, have been broken into and emptied. Lots of them are emptied by the descendants of the owners, but some have been looted, unfortunately. Over there you can see the view. Actually, I'm gonna take you there. It's worth seeing, it's beautiful. You just have to watch out for the thorns. There's lots of them. It's a good thing because those are blackberries, delicious in the summer. But in the winter, just a bunch of thorns. Some more rose hip. Lots of rose hip in our corner of Bulgaria. Mushrooms. This one is definitely not edible. However, here's an old house. Look at that. You can imagine how back in the day this house was to die for, with the view. They even made their windows with some more craftsmanship than you normally see. Look, they're circular. Ah, this is an old pesht. This is where they would cook bread. Yeah. Beautiful. And we continue. I just hop back onto the road. Back in the day, this village was actually more, it was bigger and, oh, look, they put a fence to show that there are people here. Do not enter. Good. Sometimes when there's no fence or, there's no sign of the house being inhabited, people take the liberty of entering. It's not allowed. It's something that pretty much everywhere in the world is unavoidable at some point or another. So they posted a fence to show that the owners are still alive. Do not enter. Now it's January 1st, so it's winter, and yet we are literally, you could walk around with a t-shirt. Here, I was waiting for this moment. I don't want to go into any houses that are closed up, obviously, but this one has an opening, so I'll show you from here. You know what, we'll just make a little circle real quick. I don't think anyone's gonna mind. Doesn't look like it's inhabited. Not touching anything. Just taking a peek. Here we are. Look at that. Let's see if I can. I think I'll be able to. Yep, they're solid. Solid enough, I should say. They're not exactly solid. It'll do. Just to give you guys a little peek to what the houses looked like on the inside. Very excited about this. That door that you see over there would lead either to a balcony, because there's a view on that end, which is why I could assume a balcony, but more likely a bathroom. I told you how the bathrooms work in my other video, but for those of you who haven't seen it, they were little terraces with holes on the bottom. This hole that you see in the wall is where the stove would be to heat, but this is clearly a kitchen. You can see cabinets, pantries. Yeah, and this would be the living room, and that's why the bathroom would be there. So the bathroom, again, a balcony with a hole, and you can imagine what happens from there. Let's take a look over here. So again, we don't go into houses that are either have signs of, that are closed up. Whether they have signs of inhabitants or not, We just don't go. Oh, look at this fireplace. To be honest, I could even have correction. I'm starting to think that this would have been the kitchen. Generally speaking, they'd be on the first floor, like you see in our house, if you've seen my video. And the reason is, it depends, but the reason is the heat goes up and heats the upper floors. Unless they had animals on the first floor, but that house clearly didn't. So. Rest up. This is the end of the village. There's a couple more that way and that way. This is pretty much the end. This here is the walk back down towards our village. It's cut directly through the forest. So over the spring and early summer, when the rains come and it's still warm outside, or it's becoming warm outside, these forests are full of mushrooms. Mainly chanterelle, which we call pachikrak, which, for those of you who like mushrooms know, one of the best, and porcini. Also have the most magical herbs. I am huge on herbs. I think you can cure lots of things with them. I'm going to make separate videos just on them. And here we reached our village. Well, we have a bit more to walk, but we're getting there. The church, right there, that's the center. And the air, I mean, this is something that I can't share with you, unfortunately, over the screen, but the air is so crisp and clean. I mean, it's just, ugh. I could just sit here and breathe, as crazy as I sound. Here you'll see it better. There we are. There's the school. Again, this is our village. We reached almost. My house is that little guy behind this white one right there. My boyfriend's house is that white one. It's behind this white one that you see. One of the last houses in the village. The church is over here. You can see it clearly. And the old church is all the way at the end. And the river is on the other side. Welcome back home. We are officially entering our village. You can see the school right here. And this is the road that I regularly show you between the center and uptown towards my house. So that's where that road leads. I hope by now you are starting to kind of piece the village together, getting a good orientation of everything. I plan to redo this video now, A, while it's green, and B, I'm going to try to go alone. So it's a little bit less stressful for me to be explaining everything. I realized while editing that I think I'm a little bit shy around my family while filming these videos. So I'm going to take you guys one-on-one on a tour, again on the upper village. There's a lot more to see, and give you a little bit more about the background and what each house was used for, because there's just a lot of very interesting information there, and hopefully film the inside of the church. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really put my heart and soul into these videos, so when I see you're enjoying, it's just the best feeling. If you guys liked, if you could like and subscribe, as always, it really not only means the world to me, it makes me so happy because I can keep these videos coming. And above all, thank you for joining me on my new journey through my new life.